Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of 3rd and 20 Dynasty Podcast. I'm JT, joined by Frank and Lounis. Jake is out. We had to implement a suspension on him. He unfortunately fell below 500 in our home league. He's now 5-6, and we honestly can't, provide that kind of product to you guys. It'd be doing a disservice to everyone. So we put him on he's on suspension until he can make it back to 500.
Yeah.
You're all welcome. Hey guys,
Can't
welcome to
in
the
good
trust
faith.
tree.
Can't in good
Yeah.
faith do that to
Yeah.
our viewers.
Yeah. With that,
Jake is gonna be angry with the picture. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I brought up like a picture of like the SpongeBob dude, like he looks like mummified. He's got like an IV. He's got, like,
the dude who always gets hurt.
Yeah, that guy. I put that for Jake. He's on IR. He's suspended, whatever you want to call it. So if he watches it, he's not gonna be very happy.
No,
Right.
that's perfect though.
Well, speaking of Jake and falling apart, not many injuries, but we do have the Jets kind of falling apart. I guess I'll just kick it off right away with Zach Wilson instead of the other person. Zach Wilson, reports said that he's falling apart and that the Jets went and hired his past offensive coordinator quarterback coach to help fix Zach Wilson. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think I'm pretty sure this is a kind of a clickbait headline because I was reading up on it a little bit. I think that the Jets quarterback coach, something happened to him.
He passed away. Yeah, he passed away in the beginning of the season.
So then their OC, Mike LaFleur, was offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, which, speaking from experience in this, the Steelers tried to do that with Randy Finkner a couple of years ago, and that did not work. They eventually brought in Matt Canada to be quarterbacks coach, who then became offensive coordinator. Regardless, I think this was more so the Jets realizing, hey, we need an actual quarterback coach, and the whole LaFleur being offensive coordinator and developing a quarterback and being the quarterback's coach just wasn't really working out. I think that that's more of what this headline is, but I think they tried to clickbait it into being like, oh, he's falling apart and whatnot, and they hired his former guy.
That makes more sense. Yeah, that would make more sense, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Frank. I mean, the hire can't hurt. I'm sure, mentally, he's been kind of a mess with because the weird part is the backup quarterbacks, all three of them have kind of put in all right performances in that offense that have been better than Zach Wilson's majority of games this season, outside of the Titans game. Flacco wasn't terrible last week. Even Josh Johnson had 3 touchdowns against the Colts. Mike White had the most legendary QB game this season.
I was the lowest on Zach Wilson coming into the season, but admittedly, I think it's gone too far at this point. He's still a rookie. He hasn't even been that bad in his games, and we've seen, each quarterback kind of has their flashes. Mike White, Flacco, who was it? Johnson.
Josh Johnson.
Yeah, Josh Johnson. They've had their flashes, but Mike White came back to earth. I'm sure if Flacco was staying in for the rest of the season, he would have came back to earth too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just with backup quarterbacks, you can have that flash in the pan kind of game, and I think they did. I think Zach Wilson, I'm not hitting the panic meter on him yet. I'd be closer to hitting the panic meter on Trevor Lawrence currently than I would Zach Wilson, and neither of them I feel that panicked about yet. And I mean, it could be the whole truthers thing and how the quarterbacks maintain value, because neither of them have really shown anything yet that makes you think that they could be long-term starters. But I don't think they've shown anything that doesn't, anything truly terrible that I'm willing to whip out the panic meter and smash it. I think at this point you should just hold them. I don't know why you'd be trying to sell either of them.
1,000%.
Yeah, unless you could pivot into, Justin Herberts and whatnot.
The only rookie quarterback I'd consider even selling, just because of the hype he's been getting, is Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is starting, he's getting a lot of hype online. I've seen people talking about they have Mac Jones and like Lawrence or Fields. I'm just that's a little bit too far for me. But all those other rookies I'd keep. I'm not selling low on any of them.
I'm buying Zach Wilson. I bought him. I feel like I say it almost every other episode, but we did buy him in our rebuild league. I'm reaching out in other leagues that I don't have him. Dude, I saw a tweet that said like, oh, just look at Elijah Moore's performances, something along the lines of like it's indicative to the quarterback play. It's like, well, I think that's just ridiculous. If we're gonna start pulling that out, then there were a lot of good Houston quarterbacks playing with DeAndre Hopkins, I guess. The slander has gone too far. This guy, like, even with Lawrence too. I am buying both of these players if rosters or managers are interested in selling for panic or whatever the hell you want to call it. I think it's quite frankly ridiculous, especially in Zach Wilson's case. Dude, I don't understand who was thinking that Zach Wilson was going to come out here and be Peyton Manning year one. Like, dude, he was going to have some struggles, but all I wanted to see was him just be competitive and have a game or two like the Titans game and have some games like early in the season where he keeps it close. I think it would be similar to when he played Tennessee. I think his first year starting, a game where he played like on the stat sheet and there were plays where he played like crap. He hangs around and eventually figures it out. And then once he figures it out and gets comfortable, that's when you see him start to let it rip. I still really believe in the talent. I think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks you can get a huge discount on. I don't think he's valued as a top 20 quarterback right now.
That's
which
crazy.
Is absolutely insane, especially considering the fact that he's probably going for around the same price that Sam Darnold was in the beginning of the season. And I'm smash buying at that.
So you just made me do a study right here, real quick, Frank. Trevor Lawrence, I'll start with him. Trevor Lawrence started the season pre-draft on Keep Trade Cut. He peaked at quarterback 6.
Yeah, he was up there.
Yeah, but he never, he was normally quarterback 7, and he hasn't really done anything yet. That's, he hasn't put in great fantasy performances. There hasn't been, huge games other than the game they beat the Bills, but that was all defense. Like, there's nothing flashy from Trevor Lawrence yet. He's fallen all the way to quarterback 8 from quarterback 6. So
what about
almost
Zach
nothing.
Wilson?
Yeah, Zach Wilson, on the other hand, we had Zach Wilson. He was quarterback 12 like consistently all offseason, and now, he's quarterback 20 currently. He dropped all the way down to quarterback 23 at a time. So a much bigger drop off for Zach Wilson in terms of.
I have a question.
Yep.
How would you rank these 3 quarterbacks in terms of who you'd rather own the most in Dynasty? Tua, Baker, and Zach Wilson.
To be honest, I think all 3 are underrated currently. I'd like to see. I could pull up the rankings right now. I'd like to see who's above all 3 of them. But I think all 3 of them, and I mean, maybe this might be more so with like, there's running backs and wide receivers and tight ends that are getting ranked over them. But to me, like, I'm pulling up the quarterback rankings right now. Sorry for pontificating. But we have Tua at quarterback 17, Wilson at quarterback 19, and Baker all the way down at quarterback 24. And so I get why
Baker's been bad.
Yeah, but the dude's just been playing injured the whole time. Like, I don't think people realize, like,
I don't know how bad it is.
Dude, I think that people need to understand that quarterback is a really hard position and it's really streaky, dude. Like, I really do think that at some point we will see Baker turn it around and get hot like we saw at points last year. I mean, dude, there are so many examples. Russell Wilson right now coming off injury. He's playing like crap. But does that mean you should start panic selling one of the better quarterbacks of this era? I don't think so. And look at Kirk Cousins last year. In the first half of last year, people were saying Kirk Cousins washed. This dude's job is in jeopardy. And now we're going out. And I'm seeing tweets where people are comparing Kirk Cousins' stats to like fucking Tom Brady's and shit. All right. So to a certain extent, there are just, it's momentum. There are a lot of other factors at play than a quarterback's talent. And I'm more so on JT's side. I'm buying any starting level quarterback I can with good first round draft capital at a discount. And when you have the slander if you could pick up Baker Mayfield at quarterback 24 price, I'm sorry, the value is just too good to pass up for the upside. I'm not saying it's a smash deal, but you're at the point of paying second round pick capital for Baker Mayfield. What quarterback are you going to get that's more talented than Baker Mayfield in the second round without getting lucky on like a Jalen Hurts or a Dak Prescott years ago, which is 2 out of how many second round quarterbacks have gone? You know, that for every one of those guys, there's 5-4 busts, maybe even more.
And to those points, like what Lewis was saying with Mac Jones and everything in the rookie quarterbacks, Mac Jones is ranked as quarterback 14 right now, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and those all 3 of those guys were well beyond Mac Jones. And to me, like I'm a Patriots fan, I don't think Mac Jones is significantly better, specifically for fantasy too. I mean, you look at like a per game average, you know, per game average, Tua's quarterback 20. Baker, quarterback 31, Mac Jones, quarterback 30 on a per game average. Now, obviously, like people like Trevor Siemian.
Where's Joe Burrow in there?
Joe Burrow's quarterback 13.
Because I actually don't, I'm not sure I would sell Mac Jones. I think I would offer him out. I wouldn't necessarily look to sell because I do think that there is a world where he gets that level of hype that Joe Burrow gets. And I think that if you're holding for the long term, it's a good little deal. But you're right in that, dude, this guy is going to have to develop to be one of the top passers in the league to really give you that fantasy output.
QB 14 is who's 15 and 16 right behind Mac Jones?
Good question. That is Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson.
Jesus. Like,
I mean, for both of them, like the circumstances are
obviously different.
But yeah, Mac Jones is very high. I don't know how this became a Mac Jones might be overrated segment, but let's try and steer back on track. Michael Carter, speaking of the Jets, which that was our original topic. Michael Carter, he sprained his ankle. I think it's a low ankle sprain. He's out a couple weeks. Definitely hurts for people trying to make the playoff push who thought they, stumbled into a high-end running back too. Ty Johnson, who else is there? Ty Johnson should fill his place. I think
Tevin
is the main
Coleman
guy.
is there as
Tevin
well.
Coleman, yeah. Both of them could be solid flex plays for here on out. We're at the point of the season where there's still buys and there's injuries, so I'm sure they will end up in some people's rosters. To me, I thought Michael Carter was starting to get overrated too, actually.
Yeah.
So I think this injury definitely will bring him back down to earth. He's someone that I probably would have tried selling. Hindsight doesn't help you guys, but that's
well. The thing is with Michael Carter that I found weird was, and I actually am a little bit mad at myself because I really liked Michael Carter in my pre-draft evaluations, but I didn't really snag him in any of my leagues. And he was getting hated on for a good majority of the season when he wasn't really doing much, and then all of a sudden explodes, has scored 20 points a game. And then, like you said, it just flipped over on its head. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing people who are like, oh, should I trade 2 firsts for Michael Carter? 2 first plus. I'm like, wait, what just happened? This guy went from being a consensus bust, people victory lapping the fact that you shouldn't be taking running backs with day 3 draft capital, all of a sudden to being worth over 2 firsts. Excuse me?
That's insane.
So I actually agree with you, JT. I like Michael Carter. I think he's a fine player. If you want to hold, go ahead. But if there are those people in your league that value Michael Carter at a high first round pick, honestly, it's getting to like any first round pick.
I was gonna say, if you get any first. For me, how I view Michael Carter, like you pretty much got your even return on your investment. Like you probably picked him like mid-second round, and that's kind of where I'd value him around like 206 or something.
Yeah, in super flex leagues.
Super
just want to
flex,
clarify that. I'm not sure I would, if you knew you were trading it for pick 12 this year, I may be a little bit hesitant. It's a little weird because, dude, the receivers in this class, dude, pick 12, all of a sudden you're going to be looking at there, and there's going to be some fucking juicers on the board.
Good value.
But yeah, dude, if I get a top 10 pick from Michael Carter, that I'm not sure I would turn that down.
Except
there's a lot of solid running backs that are coming out these next few years.
Yeah.
And Michael Carter, I think,
How about
It's going to be tough for
Yeah,
him
that's
to
a
compare.
good point, dude. I mean, I watch a lot of football. And I
That
feel like half
17-year-old,
the teams I watch, it's like, dude, all these
they got
teams have
insane
like
running backs.
not necessarily insane. It's just they're good. It's the same thing for receivers. I'm watching college football nowadays, and I'll tell you what, the receivers are a lot more polished than they used to be. And I guess you got to give credit to these college coaching staffs, or at least the offensive coaching staffs, because these guys are coming out and are playing at a way higher level than like 10 to 15 years ago, it seems like.
1,000%.
Maybe it's the camps and shit. I don't really know, but whatever it is, these guys are able to come in day one in the NFL, a lot of these dudes, and make impacts as long as they're like grown-ups and mature and buy into like the NFL process and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of one potentially overvalued running back to another, we've been seeing some talking heads talking about Jonathan Taylor and what he's potentially worth. And Frank, I think, has come to a consensus that he might be overvalued.
Dude, this is tough for me because I really liked Jonathan Taylor coming out. Me and you, JT, we both were banging the drum on Jonathan Taylor. But dude, I'm seeing people saying that he's untouchable, and I think it's gotten to the point where in a decent amount of super flex leagues, you might be able to trade him 1-for-1 with Patrick Mahomes, and that is at a level where I'm sorry, I just can't do that. And I think it's just hard recency bias, especially because of the fact that, dude, that Colts situation is really great for Jonathan Taylor right now because the staff has figured out that they have a good running back and are willing to give him more than like 10 carries. But dude, at that point, if I could trade Jonathan Taylor for Patrick Mahomes, even Kyler Murray or Josh Allen, I think I'm doing it, and I'm not looking back. And if you could get anything on top of it, a 5th-round pick, some fab, whatever the hell, it only sweetens it that much more.
This can't be real. So I was interested. Keep trade cut with Jonathan Taylor. So he's at 9,999. Like just the max. I was interested to see what would be the difference between Jonathan Taylor and J.K. Dobbins, who I'm super high on Dobbins. I think he's going to be a stud. I know Frank likes Dobbins a lot too. And JT, I'm pretty sure you're a fan of Dobbins.
Yeah, I like him.
It was saying the things you'd have to throw on top of Dobbins to get Taylor is like Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, Swift, with Dobbins just to get Jonathan Taylor alone.
Well, you're saying those are the egregious ones. I'm looking at J.K. Dobbins plus Jamar Chase for Jonathan Taylor, or J.K. Dobbins plus Justin Herbert for Jonathan Taylor, and that's kind of where I'm drawing the line. Look,
it's crazy.
I just don't think that's ever going to happen.
No, I mean, if I could trade, I don't know. I really like Jonathan Taylor,
Dude, but if you could trade him for like Dobbins and Herbert or something,
yeah, it's hard to pass that up. I mean, obviously, I could see why you wouldn't want to do it this year if you're a contender, and
that's the big pause.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I'm not going to come out here and say, "Oh, go sell Jonathan Taylor." After I was harping on him to smash him at the 101 last year.
The issue is if we're treating this like we're day traders, right? There's 0% chance Jonathan Taylor doesn't go down in value once the season's over because he's just the running back one right now. And by the time the season's over, everyone will be looking to go back and get their quarterbacks and everything. Like, not only that, he's also like top 2 or top 3 players right now. So like his value will go down. It's just a question of like, are you willing to trade him for 2 very good players, but knowing that you probably won't be able to trade back for him, just because the other person gave up so much for him and is probably going to hold them for multiple years. And that's kind of where the issue lies, I guess, in my opinion. Like for me, who I have Jonathan Taylor in a couple leagues, I don't really want to trade him because I know I won't be able to get him back. And there's just no one else I feel as confident in as I do Jonathan Taylor to give me multiple running back one season still. Not even counting this year. Like 2 years out, I still think 3 years.
Especially as a contender.
Yeah.
You're going to... Now, this is kind of why I'm saying, like, I would shop him out. I doubt that you're going to get a deal that's worth selling him for. But if you can get that dramatic overpay, that keep trade cut level price, I think I would do it. The only problem is that if you have Jonathan Taylor, you're probably a contender. It'd be a miracle if you weren't, to be honest. Like
It's
that,
kinda
that would
hard.
take some skill at this point. And why would you want to trade him? Because this is the dude right now that at the running back position is carrying you to a championship. He's like this year, he's the Derrick Henry now. It seems
Yeah.
like he's the dude that's getting 25 carries. He has receiving output as well. He's not necessarily matchup proof, but the Colts are kind of like the best running situation. So it's not like they're gonna, what is their bad matchup they're gonna run up against? They have to really be playing one of them.
The
Basically,
Bills
the
are
Bucs.
supposed to be the bad matchups.
I mean, they
Yeah,
got the Bucks this week. We'll see.
The Bills
we'll
were
see, I guess
supposed
we'll
to be the
see.
bad one.
I don't believe that Jonathan Taylor is matchup proof though. Kind of like McCaffrey and
It's
Nick Chubb isn't
it's-
as much, but
I was gonna say it's not so much matchup proof. I think with Taylor, it's more because I think matchup. If you could do that against the Bills, fucking do it against anyone. I think it's more game script because the difference between him versus McCaffrey's receiving upside is obviously top tier with like guys like Kamara. Where a Taylor, say the Colts fall behind like 17 points at like halftime, how much are you expecting in the second half?
Naheem Hines is going to get his fair share.
Yeah, you're hoping for like touchdowns. So
it's just his value has reached a point where it is so high for a running back in a super flex league that it's like, should a player ever be valued this highly where I can get a top 10 player and like a first round pick and more on top of that? Something like that. It's like, to a certain extent, it's if I can get good players and diversify, I feel a little bit safer, even if I love Jonathan Taylor. But kind of like I was saying earlier, I just don't think that you're going to get that offer realistically. But I would try. Why not?
Yeah, at this point in the season, I think it's Jonathan Taylor trades just aren't happening. Like you said, Frank, it has to be a miracle for you not to be in contention with Jonathan Taylor.
But if you're going to do it, you got to do it now. It's kind of like Kamara last year after the 5 touchdown game. Like,
I will say Jonathan Taylor is a few years younger. Like he's not going to lose crazy amounts of value, but like where he is right now is just exorbitantly high.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I tried English.
I picked up what you were putting down.
All right. From
real quick, like, because we're talking about like, okay, you can't do this, but I mentioned it before, Jonathan Taylor for Mahomes. If you have him and you need that top tier quarterback, are you thinking about doing that?
I mean, as someone, I don't know, people might want to take out their AirPods or headphones for this part. Like, I have Mahomes and Taylor in our home league. And to me, if I could trade Jonathan Taylor for Patrick Mahomes straight up, I'd do that every time. Like, no, I love Jonathan Taylor, but it's Patrick Mahomes.
I think I'm a similar boat.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Like, Patrick Mahomes is someone that you can literally just build your team around for the next 10 years. Like I don't know.
He's the big chungus.
Yes.
The big chungus.
All right. I'm sure that'll get across to all of our listeners. Moving on from one generational talent to another, the Titans unfortunately released Adrian Peterson. They reported that Dontrell Hilliard will be replacing him. I mean, I think we saw what Adrian Peterson was doing, and it was just he even said it himself. He was running high. He just didn't have the same stuff that he did of years old, which is unfortunate. But I think everyone could see once he started playing for the Titans that it wasn't going to work out. I don't know. This just seems like a Titans team that just needs Derrick Henry back.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know if I can say that because they went to the Rams and they crushed them on the road without Derrick Henry.
But didn't they have 2 pick sixes basically?
And Titans as a team, yeah. But I mean, in terms of the Tennessee backfield, I mean, the 3 weeks I saw it's the 3 weeks Derrick Henry's been out. It's been a different running back every week that's had the most touches. It was AP, then it was Deontay Foreman, then it was Hilliard. I don't know who is going to be between Foreman or Hilliard. I would feel weird about starting any of them until I saw like 2 straight weeks of doing well.
Yeah, to me, this isn't a fun. Not to mention
Not
that
a fun backfield.
Ryan Tannehill has like a sneaky amount of rushing touchdowns this year. I think it's like
Yeah,
6.
he'll take those red zone
Yeah.
rushing touchdowns.
So yeah, you're kind of definitely capped with whoever you're putting in there.
I think there's 2 scenarios that are going to happen here. One of which is they just kind of keep doing what they've been doing, and they keep cycling different running backs until they find one that works. Maybe that's Hilliard, maybe that's a committee, whatever. Or they decide, okay, what we've been doing the past couple weeks isn't working offensively, so we're going to start changing things up. And there, I would start to look at like you said, Ryan Tannehill could be a really sneaky good little buy low as a contender for a QB2. And B, what about Jeremy McNichols possibly getting some receiving work, or whoever the hell the receiving back is, whoever's playing on third downs? You can follow, I think his name is PFF Janky on Twitter. I think his name's Nathan Janky, whatever. He does a lot of snap counts with running backs. So I would look through his Twitter to see who's playing on the third downs or who's getting snaps as a receiving back, because that could be another solid little like waiver claim to a certain extent. And if they do start passing the ball more, you need like 5 receptions for it to pan out a game? Not even?
Yeah. The issue with this Titans offense, though, is they have the Patriots this week, and then they're on bye. And so we're kind of throwing away 2 weeks of crucial time at this point to then put you in the playoffs. I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, I find it hard to be like, oh, we'll just disregard the Titans backfield, because I do think there could be value here, considering the fact that the most it's going to cost for any of these dudes is a third. So if one of them does pan out being even a low end RB2 for a 3rd round pick, that's worth it, especially as we're coming up to playoffs, trade deadlines. I just have no clue which one it's going to be. So don't look to me for the answers.
I think a 3rd is probably even too high for these guys. I think 4th's definitely getting 1/4 might, 2/4 probably. Like I don't know. To me,
but it feels like the Colts in the offseason, where you knew one of their receivers was going to end up being valuable, ended up being Michael Pittman. I think we all missed the boat on that one. But that's what it seemed like. Dude, the Titans, you look at running rates, well, they're like top 5. So even though none of them are sexy right now, it's like, well, if they keep running the ball, someone's going to score. It's just how it works. Someone's going to be getting points.
I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably lean Foreman between him and Hilliard. But I'm with you in terms of if there ends up being one guy that they generally stick with until Henry's back, he does hold some value in terms of like, especially with end of season buys and injuries that you can throw into your flex.
I'm just of the opinion though that Derrick Henry's who's superhuman and he'll just be back.
Is he supposed to be back?
He could make it to the end of the regular season, like week 16. I think might be the earliest he could be back, but I don't think he's expected back until either week, like the last week of the regular season or playoffs.
Man, the Titans are 6.5 point dogs.
Ooh.
Jeebus bejeebus.
All right.
Wait, so last week was week 11?
Yes, we're on to week 12.
Dude, Hilliard played 51.63% of the snaps.
Yeah, but McNichols did have a concussion.
Oh, shit. Because I kind of like McNichols. I think McNichols is low-key pretty good.
We both liked McNichols coming into the season. He hasn't really shown us anything yet, but like he also hasn't had a whole lot of
the weird thing is that he was playing a decent amount when Henry was in the lineup, right? Like he was, so week 1 and week 2, he's over 20%. Week 3, 18%. Week 4, 40%. You know, like what the hell? And then all of a sudden, once Derrick Henry goes down, his snap share goes way down.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. To me, I guess I'd be willing to toss out like a late 4th for McNichols, because I can't imagine he costs more than that, especially with the news that Dontrell Hilliard's coming out, is supposed to be leading this team, and Deontay Foreman's there. But to me, I think I'd still just rather have McNichols and then hope he somehow builds in a workload, because I think he will have the best floor out of this group.
Well, I also think if that receiving back scenario happens, that he's the guy.
He'd be the guy. Yeah.
He brings something the other two can't.
I mean, fuck, maybe you just use all your 4th round picks and just collect them all. You know, got to catch them all.
Start all 3 of them.
Yeah, you're bound to hit one of them. I mean, that was my theory for the Texans running backs, and that didn't work. So
one of them might hit 8 points.
Philip Lindsay did just get cut, right? I mean,
did he?
I don't know if that's I don't know how notable that is. I don't know.
Man, that's crazy. What happened?
Is there anyone that might pick him up where you might actually have the Titans? Maybe. I don't know. Just throw him in the mix, make him more complicated.
I don't know. I think for Philip Lindsay to succeed, he needs to go to a downhill ass system. And I mean, the Titans have been getting more towards that, but I don't know. I just don't really love the fit there.
Yeah.
If the Texans are cutting you, if the Texans are cutting you, it gets hard.
Not good. Yeah, no.
All right. Moving on. Jason Garrett officially out as offensive coordinator for the Giants. I mean, after Monday night's game, I don't know how you could think anything otherwise was going to happen. I guess we'll just pause there, and then we could talk about some coaching rumors potentially going on. But yeah, Jason Garrett out.
Can we completely? Is it like, I know you're going to disagree with me, Lounis, but I really don't think Jason Garrett was the problem at all.
Oh, I agree completely with that.
He wasn't the solution.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, okay, you know, I saw someone was bringing up the fact that, like, okay, yeah, since 2020, their offense has been shit. I'm pretty sure they're last in the league in touchdowns. And they're comparing it to Pat Shurmur. But you look at what Pat Shurmur had compared to Jason Garrett, it's like, well, Jason Garrett had a worse O-line. The stud running back that they spent, like, the 2nd overall pick on didn't play for, like, 75% of the fucking games. Daniel Jones still can't figure out how to play.
Fumbles McGee.
It's just the same it's a cycle. It's literally a damn cycle. Listen, I'm not coming out here and saying that Jason Garrett was good. I think Jason Garrett was average or below average. But acting like he was all of the Giants' offensive problems, especially after watching the game last night. I mean, how many open receivers is Daniel Jones going to miss? And I'm someone who actually kind of liked Daniel Jones out of the draft, but it's just
no.
Fuck,
can we all admit? Daniel Jones is a backup quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
he's not a team quarterback.
He's not a team getting you a playoff win.
Hell no.
So at that point, you just got to move on from him. And they have the draft capital too. I don't know if they actually will. To me, I think
Jones is literally what the Chicago fans thought Trubisky was.
Yeah,
the entire time.
Trubisky's better than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, no. Chicago defended Trubisky probably
at first. But then by the end, when he actually started playing better, they're like, he sucks.
Did you see their reaction to drafting Justin Fields?
That's true.
You the answer.
I mean, at that point, though, you had Andy Dalton. But
but still.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel Jones just isn't good. But it's a front office that, like, you just got to clear. Gelman's
got to go.
Yeah, Gelman's got to go.
Man, I don't necessarily feel bad for Gettleman, but he's had some really good moves. But the problem is that there's a couple moves that, like, their interior offensive line is trash, dude. Without Vita Vea, they were getting so bullied the entire game. It was hard to watch. Will Hernandez may have had one of the worst guard performances I've ever seen watching a football game. The dude couldn't block anything. I think I might have been able to get a quarterback hurry given a couple snaps that game against him. But, like, man, it's that team is ugly. Ugly.
It's bad. And they have playmakers on offense. And it's just so hard for them to score.
Well, you know the meme that everyone was going around with the Bengals? Meme. That's the fucking Giants. Except the quarterback's throwing to the wrong receiver at the same time.
No, the Giants, like, you have 2 first-round picks this upcoming year. They should both be in good spots, but you just got clear everything. You got clear front office.
If I'm the Giants, well, I mean, I don't want to get off into a tangent of a whole different topic, but I think Russell Wilson's leaving. And if I'm the Giants, I'm throwing everything at Seattle.
Oh no, you're getting into the New York media, Lounis. I think you following all the Knicks reporters might have bled into you because the Giants are not getting any good talented quarterbacks.
I thought you meant about Russell Wilson not wanting out because I was gonna say, so his agent decided to randomly give.
I could see Russell Wilson getting out, but it's like all the top tier guys are gonna want to come to New York. It's not happening. No one's gonna want to play for the Giants.
You want to know where I think Jason Garrett went wrong? I think that Jason Garrett started listening to people too much. And everyone was saying, the offense needs to be more creative. The offense needs to be more creative. We brought in a bunch of good receivers. We need to start using them. But the problem is that I felt like the Giants played best when they went heavy personnel, when Daniel Jones was, the concept was 2 receivers, and he's meant to stare down a dude into like 3 different windows. That's where he had success. When you start making Daniel Jones have like full field reads, and dude, you saw last night, he missed Kenny Golladay on a wide open with a capital W, double posts, with Kenny Golladay running right in front of him down the freaking cock. He's wide open.
I was pissed about that. That won my highest weekly
because
score.
You're making him look at 3 guys. He can't do that. He clearly can't do that. And you guys started having success when it's just like, okay, well, fuck it. If he can't look at 3 guys, we'll make him look at 1 the entire time. Yikes.
Well, now I'll just get into rumors real quick. I feel like when there's smoke, there's fire, so I'm just going to roll with it. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. I can't imagine he lasts the rest of the season.
I mean, he's going to get fired. It's just a when.
Matt Nagy reported out after the Lions game on Thanksgiving. It's reported that he will be fired. Does that even help? Is there any help for Chicago?
Not short term.
Not sure. Yeah. It's no changes coming to Chicago until this offseason when they can actually bring in a new coach, let him hire his entire staff, and he'll have a whole training camp to implement the new offense. Nothing midseason is really going to change much.
See, the funny thing about Nagy is I actually think that he's a dude that if he does get canned, will go back to having some good success as an offensive coordinator. As long as he doesn't have to, just let him focus on the damn offense. Because what I felt like I liked about, because if we remember Nagy's first year, he was like a coach of the year candidate. The offense was creative. Everyone's saying, oh my God, this guy's the next Andy Reid and whatnot. And I actually bought into it too. And I felt like we've slowly but surely been losing that creativity, and the pressure of everything in Chicago has been getting to him. Dude, just let him go in a spot where he can get that creativity back, where he can just focus on the offense. He doesn't have to deal with this other bullshit. And I actually think he can have a lot of success again as a coordinator.
Yeah, he said some questionable things to the Chicago media. Like, I just think he's not a head coach, but he could make it as a coordinator again. As far as this team, I think we were talking before the pod, like, it's just not instantly going to get better. Like, Allen Robinson doesn't immediately become a back, low-end wide receiver 1 once he gets canned. Darnell Mooney isn't going to be where you drafted him. Justin Fields will still need to develop. Like, this is not the thing that I'm kind of trying to caution people from is don't go out and try and trade for these guys now, because you hear the coaching staff's going to change in Chicago. It's going to take time for them to rebuild.
Well, I think the big thing that could change, though, is that if Andy Dalton is starting, I actually really like this for the Bears pass catchers, more so than any coach being gone, just because I think that you get a guy because I think one of the big problems with Justin Fields was when things would start to break down, he's not the type of dude that's like, all right, well, fuck it. Where's Allen Robinson? He's like, all right, fuck it. Where's the open gap so I can start running? So just from a fantasy perspective, give me Andy Dalton in there if I want Mooney or Allen Robinson to succeed, just because I think they get that extra boost of targets.
Potentially. I don't think Andy
Justin
Dalton's
Fields completed 3 passes in the first half of the last game.
All right. Yeah, last game was I bet both teams kind of wish they could wipe it away. I mean, not the
Yeah.
defenses, but yeah, on both offenses wish they could wipe it away. I don't know. He's not saving Andy Dalton's not saving Allen Robinson's season. I think he might make him a solid flex play, but you're not looking at Allen Robinson.
I think this is the time to pay a 2023 first and Donovan Peoples-Jones for Allen Robinson.
We're reopening that can of worms.
All right, for those who don't understand, that is a meme from Twitter. I forget the guy who did it, but
Kyle Yates, Fancy Bros.
Oh my God, he got so much shit for that. He posted a trade.
Deservedly
He's like,
so.
Allen Robinson slander's gone too far. I just bought him for a 2023 first and Donovan Peoples-Jones. And oh my God, every Twitter account on the platform started roasting him.
Yeah, people crept up out of nowhere.
I think Donovan Peoples-Jones has probably outproduced Allen Robinson the last 2 or 3 weeks, just off that one long touchdown.
Allen Robinson was out last game, right? And then
Mooney top 30 right now.
All right, past
hasn't been sexy.
Past 4 weeks, half PPR, Allen Robinson has put up about 21 points. Past 4 weeks for Donovan Peoples-Jones, or past 4 games that they both played. That's probably better, right? Past 4 games that they both played, because Allen Robinson and Donovan Peoples-Jones have both missed multiple games. Donovan Peoples-Jones has put up 42 points.
Double.
So yeah. I mean, he has had just the long touchdowns. But
I know.
I mean, real quick, what is the price on Allen Robinson? Is it an early second?
Mid-second?
Mid-second?
Would you rather have Allen Robinson or Laviska Shenault?
Allen Robinson.
Okay, just making sure. I don't know if Keep Trade Cut would agree. Let's see. Allen Robinson, mid-second, 2023, mid-second. Laviska Shenault is, okay, he's slightly lower than Allen Robinson. You'd have to give up like
I've
a fourth.
I've seen it before, you know?
Yeah, I agree at this point. I still rather, we haven't seen anything from Laviska Shenault this season to convince us otherwise. And there's been multiple injuries that should have, led to him having more opportunities.
Has Allen what is the, because I haven't really been keeping up a ton with the Bears receivers. Like, has Allen Robinson had a lot of recent injuries? What has been going on with him recently, not the beginning of the season?
I think just recent there was one injury.
So he is battling hamstring. Got a hamstring issue. And so he didn't play against Baltimore.
I have that feeling that he's kind of entering 2 years ago Adam Thielen territory, where everyone knows he's good, but no one wants to pay for him because of the age and the situation and all that. I think it might be a little different because he's going to leave in free agency, so he's going to get that boost, but still.
I do think it's kind of crazy how much more OBJ is probably valued than Allen Robinson, because they're the same age, roughly. Maybe I'm wrong. Allen Robinson, okay, they're valued the same on Keep Trade Cut. There's a slight difference, but not enough to be worth it. Because that's what I was gonna say though. If you look on Twitter, the narratives on both are so very different. But they're very similar in terms of like they both have, they both could put up wide receiver 1 numbers. They're both in, starting to fade out of the prime of their career.
Yeah, I just think the thing is that OBJ's situation recently changed, so people are kind of expecting like, hey, he got that free agency boost already, where Allen Robinson, you have to wait to the end of the season. So it feels like everyone's saying dud year this year. If you're paying for him, you're paying for no points. You're just paying for points next year, which I don't think is necessarily true, but we'll see what happens.
Well, it's true that people think that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to say. All right, Frank, what's the next segment?
All right, so this is starting to become a recurring segment here. Frank PSAs, because we got another one. This is actually in reference to Michael Carter stuff I saw, I think, last week, 2 weeks ago. We were talking about at the beginning of the pod, but, dude, I am seeing way too many people on Twitter pushing this, is Jalen Waddle worth 2 first-round picks? Someone I like, Devontae Smith, is he worth 2 first-round picks? Michael Carter, I saw. Would you pay 2 firsts for Michael Carter? Dude, I'm sorry, but how many players are worth 2 first-round picks? Because, I'm looking at these damn prospects in these 2023 and 2024 draft classes, even 2022, and I am licking my chops because I think that there's, in each one of these classes, like a good 15 players that I could realistically see myself giving a first round grade to, right? Not even the freaking 12 that are standardly allotted in your drafts. How the hell are second round picks from this rookie draft all of a sudden worth 2 firsts because they had a handful of good weeks? And how the hell is a late first round pick that's been playing good, I don't think necessarily anything great, but he's been good, also doubled in value? So I am coming out and I'm saying it. A, do not take the bait on half of these dudes because these first round picks are being massively undervalued. You are not attaching a name and a face and a player to these first round picks. A, and B, stop pushing these narratives, man. I was saying it before the pod to you guys. There's like 5 receivers that I would feel pretty damn comfortable giving up multiple first round picks for, and then, you know, being like, oh, JT, look at this trade I just got. Like, I don't know how you guys think about this, but I think it's getting a little bit ridiculous that it seems like any player that's putting up any points that's under the age of like 26 is all of a sudden worth multiple
2
first round picks.
I agree with those guys. Obviously, the first round picks do come into context. Like, if you view yourself as a top 3 team in the league, trading like 2 firsts is different than just kind of being like you're in the playoffs, but you're not like a top team where that pick could be somewhere between like 7 to 10. And trading those 2, it's a lot different. But I do agree, like the thing with like trading 2 first round picks for Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle, how much have they exceeded your expectations? Like, I feel like they're playing like first round receivers. Like I think obviously like someone like a Jamar Chase has exceeded expectations because he's already turned into like dynasty wide receiver 1, but guys like Waddle and Smith, they're doing what people would hope they do when they drafted them at that like 108 spot or whatever it may be. So I don't think it's gone up enough to add a whole other first on top of that. I'm of the mindset where if I'm trading 2 firsts, I want like a star, like someone. I know me and Frank have slightly different lines, but we're generally on the same page of like it has to be someone that like you're confident in. Or like it has to be someone in like you've seen them do it to an extent, at least like it can be that year's first year they're doing it. Like for example, like for me, I don't know if Frank would do, but for me, like a CD Lamb was like the cutoff for me in terms of trading like those 2 firsts.
I'll give you both scenarios. So I'll give Frank his scenario first. Frank, you're a playoff team. You feel pretty confident that you're making the playoffs. You're either you're about 7-3 right now, and you're looking and Javonte Williams. You're willing to give up. Are you willing to give up 2 firsts for Javonte Williams? Now, these firsts are firsts that will be in the playoffs, but you have no idea if you're going to be first round exit or like the winning it all. So anywhere from 107 to 112, both of those firsts are giving up those 2 firsts for Javonte.
For Javonte, probably, but that you're also talking to one of the bigger Javonte guys out here.
Well,
but here's the thing. I'm more so looking at the receivers. So let's take someone that I like, Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith's a great player. I know you don't like Devontae Smith, but this is besides the point, right? Or make Jalen Waddle. I don't fucking know. Whoever the hell you like. If they end up becoming a consensus top 15 receiver, which is what you want Devontae Smith to be. Maybe he's there right now. Maybe he's just outside.
I think
whatever.
Right now he's right there.
Let's say he gets to receiver 9. He goes up in value. You can still pick him up for the damn 2 firsts or somewhere fucking close to it. He literally has to be a consensus top 5 receiver to all of a sudden bridge the gap of 2 firsts. And even then, it's like, dude, realistically, how much during a damn draft, how close are you to DK Metcalf offering up 2 damn firsts? I imagine in a lot of leagues, you're pretty darn close. Or DJ Moore, whoever the hell you want to say, because it seems to rotate whoever this like receiver 5 is, AJ Brown 1 week, DJ Moore, then DK Metcalf, then whoever.
Terry McLaurin.
Like, so why are you paying that top 5 price before a player is top 5 or top 10, let's say?
I agree. Well, the other thing I was going to say, which kind of sums it up perfectly, with those type of players, you're paying for the ceiling. You're already like paying for the absolute ceiling that they can be, which turns into the issue, because that player's best case scenario means it's an even trade, And then anything else lower than that, you overpaid. So that's kind of the biggest issue with it.
I just kind of come from the perspective that, listen, I'm all for getting your guys. If you think that Devontae Smith is the best thing since sliced bread, go ahead and trade for him. But I personally, unless I absolutely love a player, and even sometimes when I absolutely love a player, dude, I'd much rather just trade for the guy when he reaches that ceiling or when he's close to it than trade for him beforehand and all of a sudden have it blow up in my face. Like, I'm much more when with all, especially in Dynasty, with the amount of hype that young players have been getting, and the fact that if you just look at startup data, young players are going earlier and earlier and earlier in drafts for good measure. But dude, the price difference is not that much from when a guy actually starts performing well compared to the hype that he already has before getting drafted or just when he gets drafted. It's a little bit different for like if a dude becomes the best player at his position. Like, okay, Jonathan Taylor, when he was, I and a lot of other people, I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, well, where were the CEH people that had CEH at 101? I still think that more people had Jonathan Taylor. Maybe that's just, I don't necessarily know. But unless you have that scenario, most of these players are around the same because when you're drafting them and when they have the hype, their ceiling, like Luna said, is priced in. You're already paying for the fact that they're going to be sick.
Yeah.
So I'll shell out a little bit more just to buy them when they're actually sick. If I don't land them in the rookie drafts or at the price that they initially enter the league, you know what I'm saying? Because you kind of have two shots to get him. But just because I love Devontae Smith doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and shell 2 first-round picks for his ass. I landed him at 111 in a draft. I was happy with that. Just because I like him, I'm not going to go out and just start going crazy like, oh, I have to have every share of Devontae Smith.
All right, let's move on to our next segment. Frank, want to kick it off?
Oh, yeah, we got some Devy stuff. Looks like the episode's going to go a little bit shorter this time.
Well,
but
you might be skipping
we have
over
a section before that.
Oh, yeah, we do. Who are we thankful for? Yeah, I did miss that. You know, it's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is in 2 days, right? 2 days?
Mm-hmm.
This is Tuesday.
As of us recording it, yes.
And also to our viewers, we hope you enjoy your Thanksgivings.
Yeah, we do. Jake might not. He might be.
Jake might not. Yeah.
We on this podcast too.
Misery likes company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to just have a segment, I guess. You know, who are you thankful for on your fantasy team?
Are we picking like 1 or 2 players?
I guess I'll go with 1. Honestly, I haven't thought about who I'm necessarily. Actually, I know who I'm thankful for, and that's Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen.
Because Keenan Allen is the typical type of player. I think Mike Evans also kind of fits this mold, but I think Mike Evans surprisingly is a little bit more hype. Like, where kind of no matter where you've bought him at, where you've taken him in a draft, the guy's just been consistent. The guy's been there. He's been that low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 on your fantasy team. And he just shows up, dude. You know, there's not a week that goes by, a matchup that shows up where I'm saying, man, I don't know if I should play Keenan Allen this week. So shout out to you, Mr. Keenan. And he's also just a really cool dude. So Keenan Allen, I'm thankful for you. I have you in a couple of leagues. So cheers, bro.
How about you, Lewis? Who are you thankful for?
So I am thankful for quote, the most overrated player in Dynasty, end quote. Chris Godwin.
I
knew that was coming.
Dang, Lounis taking an Eagles player at -150 misses. Damn.
Chris
Godwin.
Godwin.
Only -150.
So yeah, I baited y'all with Jalen
Yeah,
Hurts.
I'll give you that, Lounis. I hated on Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin, who is wide receiver 8 on the year, on pace to have his second wide receiver 1 season out of the past 3 seasons. At 25 years old, he's just been a consistent like 15 a game. He's just been awesome, and it's I know obviously you can account Brady having his MVP season, But he's someone who's just been like super reliable in my offense. He's not one of those receivers where like sometimes they'll go for like 35 and then the next game's like 3. Sometimes I even get that with like a Tyreek Hill. But even though obviously Tyreek Hill is the better receiver, he's just been consistent. He's just been balling every week. And the same kind of goes with Mike Evans. Godwin and Evans are having pretty similar seasons. So Chris Godwin, I'm thankful for him.
The funny thing about Godwin for me is that I actually really liked Godwin coming out of Penn State. But I think the problem I've had with him is that I've stuck a little bit too hard to my draft eval of him, more so than taking into account the current situation and what's happened. Because I don't know, I just never felt comfortable paying a top 10 price for him. But I mean, geez, he's been balling out, so good for you, Loon. You win this battle.
It's okay. I already lost the CEH one.
All right. I have a couple that I'm thinking of in between. I could do the easy route and pick the people I put all my eggs into the basket for, like the Swifts and Taylors and Jaces of the world. But that's who's not thankful for those players. I thought about James Conner because the dude literally just scores a touchdown every single game.
Yeah.
He was like free.
You know what the seasons reminded me of kind of with him?
What?
Remember Ben Jarvis Green Ellis in New England a bunch of years ago where he scored like 19 touchdowns in 1 year?
Mm-hmm.
That's the season that James Conner season is reminding me of.
You guys are going to hate me. But
okay.
I am thankful for the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers and the New York Giants for not picking quarterback in the NFL draft and allowing the Patriots to get Mac Jones without trading up. Because somehow the Patriots have gone from missing the playoffs in complete shambles to now they're back in the playoffs in a matter of a year.
The fact that the Patriots lost the greatest football player of all time, who's still playing at an MVP level, and it took them 1 year to rebuild, and now they're one game out of the 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So shout out Carolina, shout out Mr. Gettleman and the New York Giants, shout out the Denver Broncos and John Elway, who manages to just miss on every quarterback. Thank you, because Patriots gave up nothing. They got so far the top performing quarterback. I agree he's overvalued, but he's a serviceable quarterback who's leading us to the playoffs.
I mean, if we're just talking we're just talking about football. To get him at what they pick him, like 19?
15.
That's insane. And now he's been balling recently.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked it.
Reds. I mean, no, the Patriots look good. They're on the longest winning streak in the NFL. I did
not think you were gonna say Mac Jones. That was definitely a shock.
Look, in fantasy, I feel like I've said this before. In fantasy, it's just hard for him to be like a top tier kind of quarterback. But I don't hate Mac Jones, the actual player. I think he's solid, and he's shown to be solid so far. And I think a lot of people might be giving him a little too much credit, but he's good. I don't know. I don't have a problem rooting for him.
Yeah, I know we kind of already talked about Mac Jones, but dude, if you're buying Mac Jones in fantasy, you're buying him for longevity. You're not buying him for the points.
Yeah.
Every year.
I mean, at the price that he's at, if you're telling me I'm getting X amount of years of solid quarterback too, I think that's worth it.
Yeah, the thing is though, is that I think you have to pay higher than that keep trade cut price for him. I think that true. Quarterback 14, because it seems like there's a clear tier gap between quarterback 16 and quarterback 18 or 17. There's a huge price gap right there between those dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I still stand by your point though, Frank, of this might be a quicker episode because we're already into our last segment, Devy.
Yeah, we do have I have a couple of guys that I wanted to bring up. One of which is getting a lot of hype that we ended up not picking in our mock, and that's Rachaad White, a running back out of Arizona State. This is a weird prospect, and I don't think I'm as high on him as the community is, and I'm not sure the NFL is going to be as high on this guy just because there's a lot of things that aren't heading in his direction, right? He's a senior, which isn't the end of the world, but especially with JT's philosophy and as data analytics starts pouring in a little bit more to decisions, dude, it does make a little bit of a difference. And, he plays for Arizona State, which you just look at that offense and their running back history is not great. But the fact of the matter is, the dude's like 6'2", 210 pounds, and his receiving output and his like big playability is really good. So Rachaad White is probably going to be one of the more polarizing running back prospects as we get on into the draft process. I can imagine we are going to see him going in some mocks for rookie drafts in the first round, and some mocks maybe in like the end of the second to third round. So definitely a player that you should have on your radar. If he does get a good landing spot and a good NFL draft capital, I can imagine a lot of people are going to like him because of his receiving ability. I'm pretty sure right now, if you look at all the running backs, like he's head over heels above everyone in receiving output. So with his size, I haven't ground the tape, so I don't really know how great of a runner he is outside of just some of these stats that are pretty popular in the data analytics community right now. But definitely a guy you should have on your radar, and it's going to be interesting because he's going to be at the Senior Bowl too, so we're going to get a little bit of a deeper dive into him as well.
Yeah, to me, I'll wait and see what the draft has to say. I don't know. Senior Bowl run back. But Ramondre Stevenson was Senior Bowl run back last year that I liked. So,
well, I think that Rachaad White, because you have a lot of people that like Charbonnet. JT, you're kind of one of them. And
yep.
I think that Rachaad White could easily be in that sort of Charbonnet tier, for better or for worse.
All right. I don't hate that.
All right, so now we're going through the classes because this is a guy that we just have to mention, and that's Jaxon Smith-Njigba, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, because holy fuck, this guy's a beast.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, so the talk of the town has been Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson coming into this season. But who's the dude that is showing up and getting all the yards for this? Not all of them, but like a good fucking amount. That's Jaxon Smith-Njigba, the third receiver at first. He's a 2023 prospect. This dude is an absolute animal. I'm not sure there is a box he doesn't check. And I think right now he's the consensus wide receiver 1 for the 2023 class. And he's looking like one of these potential absolute stud receiver prospects.
It kind of reminds me of, real quick, JT, kind of two situations, I guess, almost like, okay, so the first situation I was going to say, but like on steroids. Like, you remember when like Judy and Ruggs were entering, but we were like, oh shit, Devontae Smith's producing them both as like a year younger. It's like that, except he's better than Devontae Smith. They were like, if you want to bring up like Jamar Chase being better than Justin Jefferson and Justin Jefferson entering the draft and still being a first round receiver, like those were kind of the first few situations I thought of. But he's insane.
2 points I want to add. So first is I really like him. I don't know. I want to see what Kayshon Boutte does next year. He destroyed his leg though, so I don't know what he'll be. But I don't know if I'm willing to bump him down from 1 right now. But Jaxon Smith-Njigba, what was interesting was I don't know how much our viewers and listeners key into college football, but when they played Michigan, ESPN was doing an interview with the receiver room, and they were talking to Garrett Wilson, Olave, and Njigba, and they're like, "Who's the guy?" And Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave both were like, "Yeah, it's Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Like he's on another level." And to me, I wouldn't have been shocked if Chris Olave said that, because I just think like already we're seeing it. He's a senior, and Njigba's a sophomore. He's already
hating on Olave so much.
I mean, we're seeing it. We're literally seeing it. Olave is a senior, and Jaxon Smith-Njigba is already out playing him, and he's out producing him. But Garrett Wilson is not someone that I thought would be getting outplayed, and not someone that I thought would point to Jaxon Smith-Njigba as like the guy. But that's what happened, and so I mean, it's kind of hard to underrate someone then when they're putting them, or undervalue someone like that when such a talented wide receiver room is pointing to him as the guy.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about Smith-Njigba has been like, what if he was not on Ohio State? Because at the beginning of the season, we all knew Smith-Njigba was good. I don't think there's any college football fan that's going to come out here and say that, oh, he's a bad receiver or he doesn't have NFL looks. But he was behind Olave and Wilson. If he was on, let's say, Alabama, where outside of, I guess that, Jameson Williams and Mechie were there. Maybe that's not the best example. Maybe like Clemson, a team that kind of just needs that stud tier receiver. I really wonder what his numbers would be if he was kind of viewed as like that guy, because clearly they're just giving him the football more than they were before. Like, I just wonder what his numbers would be.
Yeah.
And like what the hype would be, because I mean, he's already getting a lot of hype, but I just wonder if he would be getting that crazy amount of hype.
I'd assume, yeah, he probably would. Unless you put him on like Colorado.
He's already getting up there.
Disservice and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, 2024. Who's your 2024 guy, Frank?
Okay, so you're talking about a guy that's getting an ass ton of hype. Well, this is that guy. It's Braelon Allen, the running back out of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because
17 years old.
Yeah, he's 17 years old, and he is torching everyone. Now, like, he wasn't getting a huge role at first. There was a Clemson transfer that was initially the starting running back for Wisconsin, but he was getting some reps. But now he's kind of taken over that main role, and he's not looking back, Braelon Allen. This dude is just going off. Travion Henderson was kind of the RB1 of 2024. He's another Ohio State player for a little bit. But I think everyone in the Devy community now has kind of switched up and been like, dude, Braelon Allen is the guy. Right now, he's looking like he's kind of like that next Jonathan Taylor, because that's the only other Wisconsin freshman that has been kind of, him and Braelon Allen have been producing at a similar level their freshman year. So, I mean, this is just kind of a PSA. I said it a couple episodes, but I'm going to reiterate. Do not sell your 2024 picks. 2024 has studs at every position. You have 2 insane level running backs, possibly even more, because these guys are freaking young. You have another receiver, Xavier Worthy out of Texas, who's been going crazy as well. You have good quarterbacks, and you have good tight ends. I'm pretty sure Brock Bowers, that Georgia tight end, is right now considered like a 20, maybe he's 2023. I have no idea, to be honest, but he's either 2023 or 2024. I'm pretty sure 2024. So if you have those players, holy shit, this is going to be a class. And that's not even including the guys that are going to pop up in the sophomore seasons and junior seasons. So, dude, I am going to be trying to buy these 2024 picks before the consensus catches on. I'm not doing a great job because a lot of our league mates listen to this podcast, but I'm going to be picking these motherfuckers up, and I'm going to be trying to do it, probably trading down during the off season and in drafts, trying to pick up these 2024 picks at a discount when the other players are getting hyped.
Frank, just real quick, if you had a Devy, it's to say you're in a Devy league. If you had to pick right now to take on either Braelon Allen or Bijan Johnson, who you take?
Robinson.
Bijan Robinson.
Oh, Robinson. Yeah, I said Johnson.
I'm taking Robinson.
I think I'm taking Bijan. Sorry, bud.
I mean, I like Braelon Allen, but like I need a little bit more than just this.
I don't think you're going to be unhappy.
I don't think so
either.
But Bijan's looked incredible. I'm just sticking with Bijan.
But dude, these 2023 and 2024 draft classes are wow level juicy at the running back position. It's looking like,
yeah,
which is interesting. I feel like 2021 was a little bit light on the running backs. I mean, looking back, not necessarily, because Javonte has gotten a ton of hype. Najee's panned out. Michael Carter's apparently worth 2 firsts. Ramondre Stevenson's panned out. It looks like, but since that 2020 class, it's kind of like the level of hype for the running backs just kind of hasn't been there until they get that late push. Well, for 2023 and 2024, it looks like they're going to have some damn good hype.
Yeah, time will tell, but I'm excited for those future classes.
Don't sell low on those damn picks. Do not sell low. That's why I'm saying, why the hell are you paying 2 firsts for Michael Carter? Like, there are tons of sick players that could end up being those first-round picks. And you ended up with 1 Michael Carter?
Yeah.
Imagine the dude that just years in advance traded away Robinson and a late first for Michael Carter.
I'd like to give up 1 first for Michael Carter still seems like too much for me, but
I was surprised it was that high.
All right.
Because how many people have this many first-round picks? You are giving you know right now in Sleeper, you have 3 first-round picks to trade, right? If you have your standard assortment of picks, you are trading 2/3 of your first-round picks, which I can almost guarantee you one of those bitches is in 2024, because everyone's already been hyping up the 2023 draft class. So like, I just listed off like 5 or 6 players that are producing at a stud level. Like, I'm talking all-pro NFL level for their age. Not saying it's necessarily going to happen, but fuck, they look good at every damn position. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah. With that, I think that's another episode of the 3rd and 20 podcast. Hope everyone has a happy, safe Thanksgiving. We're heading into the holiday season. We're heading into the playoff season. So just wishing good luck for everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening.